a senior advocate in the Supreme Court. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for joining us this evening on the show. Since I had a point of view on the legal aspect from Mahesh Jethmalani, I will start with Sanjay Hegde to get his version or his opinion on what has happened today in the Surat court. Mr. Mahesh Jethmalani says that as long as the law exists, then it can be invoked, and it has been invoked today, Mr. Hegde. It's a complete legal order which has convicted Rahul Gandhi. What is the precedent it has set legally?
Well, in terms of precedent, I'm not aware of any defamation conviction for where the maximum sentence of 2 years has been imposed. That itself is unprecedented. Whether this is, of course, a trial court. It does not necessarily have precedential value in the constitutional courts, where it no doubt will be challenged. Mr. Jethmalani made a few significant remarks. He personally thought that the criminal defamation law needed to be revisited, but it was only Parliament that could do it. We are one of those rare countries where defamation is a matter of criminal jurisprudence. It was originally brought in by the British on the footing that people should not fight in the streets for their honor. There should be a legal method of putting away the offender. And it has continued. It has continued. And when the Constitution first came in, there was a specific amendment which said that the law of defamation, contempt of court, etc., cannot necessarily rely upon freedom of speech. In a particular sense, it's good that some big man has been convicted. Maybe that will at last tell Parliament, look, it may be time to have a relook. There were many journalists who
where is the case for relook? Parliament is where is the case for relook? Pinky Anand, do you think that there is now a case for relook at defamation because Rahul Gandhi has been convicted? Sanjay Hegde saying handing out the maximum sentence of 2 years is unprecedented. The BJP is likely and is welcoming this. They're saying he gets what he deserves and he keeps shooting his mouth off.
The point is, you have a judgment which has actually indicted him and convicted him for 2 years, permissible under the law by all means. The law has been challenged on various occasions, and finally in Subramaniam Swamy, the sections have been upheld. Free speech has been held to be ultimately accepted by some of the few rules, including those of statutory laws, including such as of defamation. So, I mean, really the point of the whole exercise is that Rahul Gandhi himself tried to throw out the ordinance, which would have saved him at this point of time. At that point, in fact, the ordinance was brought in by the Congress government only. So, in fact, if you look at the larger game, ultimately the point is you need to have free and fair speech, which doesn't impinge on anybody's reputation or in any manner harms the dignity or reputation of any person. In such a case, please see what has been done. A direct comment has been made. And that direct comment, there is no implication. It's a direct comment. And you call somebody in any capacity in such a rough and literally a manner which is uncalled for. And you equate to criminals literally. In this situation, what do you expect is going to happen? And if you say a maximum sentence, unprecedented or otherwise, it's another matter. Defamation law is now being utilized pretty reasonably and in various occasions. The question is, do you want a society which can say whatever it wants without any imposition as if it is a free-for-all? Do you want a society where you have responsibility for what you say and for the actions that you actually put forward? So that is the real test of the situation. And in any case, you have the Supreme Court uphold the constitutionality of the provision. So there you go. If ultimately there is something by the legislature, that might be another matter. But there is no real reason to call for it or to want that exercise. If you do that, you are actually saying, all right, see, civil law is there in any case. You have tort law. You can sue somebody for defamation. Similarly, you have a criminal defamation law because it is said that a person's reputation is even more important to him than anything else. It's an asset. So you can't really go in by a sword or by a statement or by a mouth.
The question here, Ms. Pinky Anand, and I'll come to you for a follow-up. I know Sanjay Hegde wants to come in and the other participants do as well. Is then what kind of speeches will you have in this country? Because if you look at any of the political speeches across party lines, they are hard-hitting. They are taking jibes, pot shots, and saying, nasty things about political opponents. No speech says nice things about the political opponent. So will hereon speeches have to be very, very hygienic or, very, very careful in what they say?
Sorry, Tamanna, is that to me or somebody else?
Yes, Pinky Anand, that's to you, ma'am.
I mean, the questions of hygiene, what kind of hygiene are you talking about? Ultimately, you have a position where you're required to be responsible for what you say. Talk about a person's policy. You may condemn it, but condemning is not defamation. When you go to a person's reputation, I'm afraid there's a large difference between the two. So you may even talk about a person of what he does in his political capacity or public capacity. But you can't bring upon him such a disrepute as to link him to such kind of positions which will cause him harm.
Okay, so it's about linking him to positions which will cause him harm, essentially linking the Prime Minister to thieves. Rohan Gupta, your response. Did Rahul Gandhi cross a line? What does this mean politically for the Congress? Do you think he will be disqualified?
We have to see what happens in future. But there are two important things, because I'm not a legal expert, but what I understand logically and whatever knowledge I have of law, then wherever there is defamation involved, the person against whom the defamation is done, I think he has to take the legal course. And here we see that Purnesh Modi, nowhere the defamation judgment says that it is about his reputation. It refers to directly Mr. Narendra Modi. So here Narendra Modi is not the complainant. I'm talking about the legal process first of all, and then I'll come to the political side of it. The other, the facts which are coming out, the same person who lodged this case in magistrate court, he withdrew, he went to High Court and put stay on the proceedings till the time the next judge came, and as the next judge came, he again filed the complaint in the magistrate court and the order came. So we are evaluating the process also, that why this kind of things are done. Now this is on the legal side. On the political side, as you have rightly said, I can refer to 10 or more than 10 statements by Mr. Modi and the party leaders where they have attacked our leaders directly, whether calling Sonia Gandhi jersey cow or Rahul Gandhi bad words and all.
So why aren't you filing, Mr. Rohan Gupta, why aren't you filing defamation cases?
Absolutely.
Now you have
Here
legal
also,
precedent.
This is absolutely my question. See, we are in politics and we need to understand that our opponents will definitely make allegations against us. And this is here Mr. Modi has not filed the direct case. That is what I am trying to tell. If tomorrow Congress files a defamation case, maybe the law will come against us that no, because you are not the person who has been affected by these arguments, you cannot file. Here, this is the difference. That is why we say that this government has controlled everything under our democracy. There are double standards for opposition and there are different standards for the party leaders in power.
Tuhin Sinha, are there double standards? They're mentioning a number of cases. I mean, in the history of Indian politics, calling your opponent chore is just very, very common. I'm not saying this is right or wrong or whatever, but I'm saying, are we now setting new standards for what people can and cannot say in political speeches? The the Congress spokesperson today says that there are double standards being followed.
Well, good evening, Tamanna. Good evening to all your viewers. You need to understand that Rahul Gandhi as a person is addicted to loose talk and making disparaging comments. This is probably the 5th or 6th defamation case against him. He has been lucky on a few accounts. 3 years ago, there was a defamation case in the case where he said RSS was behind the killing of Mahatma Gandhi. I am not aware of the status of that case. He had to apologize to Supreme Court for attributing false words to Supreme Court on the Rafale issue. So he is a repeat offender. Now, in this particular case, he has insulted lakhs of people with the Modi surname, most of whom belong to the backward community. So I think, the sense of hurt among the community members, and that could be anybody, is extremely genuine. I can help you with an example. Since Rohan Gupta is on the show over here, and since Tamanna, you are a business journalist. Last year, there was an NSE co-location scam where somebody called Sanjay Gupta was arrested. Tomorrow, if I'm on a debate with Rohan Gupta and I say whether it is Rohan Gupta or whether it is Sanjay Gupta, it is all the same. Will it not hurt Rohan Gupta? So why is the Congress so logically challenged? All that Rahul Gandhi had to do was to apologize, say that I made a mistake. But instead, like foolish people, they have been calling Veer Savarkar Mafi, making their own position untenable. And even today, after the verdict, look at the attitude of the Congress party. Malika Arjun Kharge calls it cowardly, the judgment. Both brother and sister have tweeted that, the truth is on their side. In a way, that is vulgarly reiterating that what they have said was right and they stand by it. This is repeating the insult to the community or to the lakhs of people who have that surname 3 years later.
Okay, let Rohan Gupta, since you've talked about him specifically, let him respond. If today Toheen talks about another, convicted criminal or someone who is known for doing something illegal but happens to have the same surname, will you be offended and will you file a defamation case against him?
Absolutely, very good question. If I am offended, will Mr. Tohin Sinha file case on my behalf and court will do the judgment? This is my question. Why can Mr. Tohin Sinha answer that? Will you file case on my behalf? If Mr. Modi feels offended, then he should come out and file the case. Absolutely, we'll give our answers. Number one. Number two, Mr. Purnesh Modi, his name was not taken in the statement. Then how he has felt defamated? So this is the difference. The process of law has not been followed. And I will give you 10 such examples. If this is the parameter you are setting up, I will give 10 such examples where Mr. Ashwini Chaubey, he called Mr. Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi Rali ka kida. Then obviously if I'll file case on behalf of Mr. Gandhi, will the court of law take it? No, they will not. They will give me the example because since I am not the person who has been impacted by this, I cannot file the defamation case. This is what we are.
Okay, that's the same point you've made twice, Ron. I want to get the legal. I know Tohin want to respond, but let me get the legal aspect on that because he's repeated that question twice and it stands to logic. Sanjay Hegde, can someone else whose surname is also Modi say that I am offended because he called 3 Modis chor or thieves?
No, let's repeat the exact sentence and let's see who takes me in defamation. Okay. What Mr. Gandhi is alleged to have said is that Nirav Modi, who was the other Modi, Lalit Modi, why is it that a lot of people who have thieving backgrounds, why are they all called Modi? So now I doubt that he ever knew who Mr. Purnesh Modi was or that he even existed. Be that as it may, Mr. Purnesh Modi may have a case for civil defamation, but to criminally sentence somebody to imprisonment, that I think is a rather long ask. In fact, I think the Congress has got it all wrong. What they should say is that the Right Honorable Mr. Nirav Modi, who is no more in India, or His Excellency Lalit Modi, who is no more in India. Why is it that such excellent people are being produced among the Modis? Would that suffice? I think there are several logic errors, let alone legal errors, in the Gujarat court judgment. I have no doubt that it will be set aside. And quite frankly, it is ridiculous. But yes, it has given us all a talking point. And we shall, like Mark Antony say, yes, for Modi is an honorable man and all Modis are honorable men.
No, it's a talking point, but it's also a legal case. And it could lead probably to a disqualification of Rahul Gandhi as MP because of a 2013 order. Pinky Anand, I want to come to the point of who filed the defamation case. And do you think that this is a order which is bad in law, like Sanjay Hegde is, saying that the order does not really work? What is your point of view on that?
Sanjay Hegde's vict is amazing and has always been. So we take it at that. But as far as the law is concerned, the 2013 judgment hasn't wished it away in any manner. On the contrary, it has made the disqualification now. As on the date the judgment came in, he stands disqualified. That is the tenor of Section 8.3 of the Representation of People's Act. 8.4 was struck down as unconstitutional by the 2013 judgment. So nothing more remains for an assumption unless and until a stay is granted of the conviction by the appellate court or by way of an application, whatever that might be. So that's one aspect. The fact of whether this judgment will definitely be turned down, as Mr. Hegde says, I'm sorry, I'm not so sure about that. Ultimately, the comparison of great personalities and excellent personalities and their excellency, that Sanjay had said, with thieves. And similarly, in the same breath, Mr. Modi in that same category. I think there is very little you can say to not call it derogatory and defamatory, to bring it within the ambit of Section 499. And finally, the question of who can file. Section 199 CRPC seems to be ignored by everybody, which is again part of the constitutional theme of having been held to be valid. Section 199 permits an aggrieved person to file, and similarly, many cases by the Supreme Court where such a permission has been considered and permitted. So there is no question of Mr. Purnesh Modi's application not being competent. I really don't have such high hopes as Mr. Hegde does. On the contrary, I think it's a judgment which will probably sustain. And but for Mr. Rahul Gandhi having torn up the ordinance right in the face of everybody, which came into some kind of discussion for sure, he might have been saved by virtue of that for some time. For 3 months till he got a stay, but in the circumstances, 8-4 having been struck
Ms.
down
Anand,
and nothing,
if you recall,
having ratified it.
But Ms. Anand, if you recall, before that ordinance was torn up, at that point it was the BJP in the opposition who was decrying the bringing of that ordinance, saying it was a way to shield the corrupt.
You are right, Tamanna. I stand totally there. I was just talking about Rahul Gandhi's conduct, not mine or my party's. What I am saying is ultimately the party stood for fairness and the fact that convicted people had no right to stand and should be disqualified as such. We stand by that statement.
Okay, Mr. Hegde, the point about, I just want to lay this to rest. So in law, it was fine for Mr. Purnesh Modi to say that he felt defamed, his community felt defamed.
Yes, absolutely. Under 199, 199. Sorry, Sanjay, if I interrupted you, but I reaffirm that position. Sanjay, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, as far as Mr. Purnesh Modi is concerned, he does not allege a personal defamation. It was not said that Mr. Purnesh Modi belongs to that excellent company of Lalit Modi and his ilk, right? He says that that Modi's in general got defamed, and therefore he has a criminal cause of action. He may have a civil cause. That's a different thing. Ask for compensation. But in criminal law, unless it was specifically targeted at him, I have my doubts that even 199 will come to its aid. So so I really think that's an open question, and it will be one of those.
Yeah.
Can I just have a short response, Tamanna?
Yes,
Tamanna, just a short response.
Yes.
The law, Mr. Hegde might be, and you might concur with me there, that an identifiable class of persons, if they are defamed by a statement made, that would amount to criminal defamation under the criminal law, and I stand on that.
An identifiable class of persons. Now, an identifiable class of persons are not. See, if you were to say that all lawyers, including Pinky Anand and Sanjay Hegde, are thieves, maybe one of us has a cause of action. But if somebody were to say that, you see, Anand Hegde, Santosh Hegde, Sanjay Hegde, this Hegde and that Hegde, everybody is X, Y, or Z. I don't think Hegdes are a class that way.
Okay, so interesting.
What would Hegdes form, Sanjay, in that case, if not a class of people which is identifiable, including the illustrious Sanjay Hegde, Justice Santosh Hegde and others?
No. So people sharing a surname is a coincidence. They are not a class.
Oh.
Otherwise, Pinky would probably then have to claim responsibility for everything that any Mr. or Mrs. Anand does.
This is interesting. This is interesting. Great to hear this. Great to hear this legal banter here between Pinky Anand and Sanjay Hegde, two great legal minds on this, and this will no doubt go to court. But like I said, this entire story has two aspects. There's the legal aspect and there's the political aspect. And the political aspect is begun. Tuhin Sinha, is the BJP now going to move to disqualify Rahul Gandhi? And if you did note one comment that Mahesh Jethmalani made, let me just add to that question. When I asked him what he thinks the impact is going to be on Rahul Gandhi, he said, you never know, this might actually help him. You never know.
Well, you know,
What do you say
as
to
for
that?
the 2013 Supreme Court verdict, so Rahul Gandhi stands disqualified. We don't need to do anything about it. Rather, we feel upset because, you know, he has always been a great asset for us. So, you know, him not being there would somewhere make us feel sad. But look at the larger point over here. You know, one thing is for sure, Rahul Gandhi needed better legal minds. I think a easier thing for him to do was to reach out to Arvind Kejriwal, who has been an expert in facing defamation cases. All he had to do was to issue a clarification, apologetic clarification, or apologize. But look at the ego of these people. You know, I mean, with Rahul Gandhi, there is a fundamental disconnect with in the Indian ethos. He can say anything about Modi. He can say anything even during the Assam elections 2 years back, he was abusing the Gujarati community. When he goes to Kerala, he says North Indians are not like this. You have a better work culture. So he has a history of abusing somebody or the other in a very irresponsible way. But I'm surprised nobody from the Congress party shows him the mirror. That is the bigger point over here.
No, so 1 minute. So let me get Rohan to respond to this. Why is the Congress party not showing Rahul Gandhi the mirror, asks Tuhin Sinha? Why didn't he just apologize instead of taking this further? My question to you is different. Are you going to turn this into a plank that Rahul Gandhi has been, you know, victimized, targeted for everything he says? Whether it's the ED or whether it's this defamation case.
Absolutely right that Mr. Rahul Gandhi is showing mirror to BJP. That's why BJP is battle. Look at the whole statement Rahul Gandhi has made. He has questioned Mr. Mehul Choksi, Nirav Modi, Lalit Modi. Why BJP is not answering that? Just yesterday we saw that Interpol cancelled the lookout notice against Mr. Mehul Choksi. Why BJP is silent on that? Why they are running away from, shying away from the core issues? Yes, they have taken money from Indian people. Yes, from note ban, the BJP took money from Indian people and it gave it to these people. So if they have courage, why don't they answer the real question? I am ready for the debate. And this
no, but you know what? 1 minute. But Rohan Gupta, 1 minute. But Rohan Gupta, of course, Tuhin will reply. But Rohan Gupta, do you not think it was in poor taste to link? You know, the question is fair as opposition, that what is the government of the day doing against fugitives? But to link it with Prime Minister Modi because they share the same surname. It was unwarranted.
Again,
it was below the belt. It could have been avoided.
As I told in my opening remarks, right, I will be bound for a moral reply or a moral treatment to people who are same to me. BJP has no question, no right to ask me any question where their leaders have accused our leaders. When Mr. Modi was CM of Gujarat, he started this. Nobody going to tell Sonia Gandhi Jersey cow, 50 crore girlfriend. We have not told this. These are the words of Mr. Modi. But yes, we know that we are in politics and obviously our opponent can go out of way and say something against us. But now they are setting up the new precedents in politics that anybody who is not been offended by the allegations, he can also file the criminal suit and you can get the judgment. This is the new beginning in India. So I think this is what we are going to
so
fight.
every speech before every election by every leader is going to be followed by a plethora of defamation charges because someone or the other is going to be offended and feel defamed.
You know, we should drag all speeches because, you know, throughout our democracy, there have been vociferous speeches, there have been very hostile speeches, but again, responsible leaders know exactly where to draw the line. If the Congress has a complaint with some of the comments, I again repeat, they should hire a better legal team instead of casting aspersions on our judiciary. Why can't they hire a better legal team instead of just cribbing about, you know, the justice being cowardly, about judges being manipulated? Number one, even today, I have gone through all the reactions of Congress leaders. Two things are very clear. The perverse sense of self-entitlement that the brother-sister duo is going to continue irrespective of the fate of the Congress party. And two, they will continue to cast aspersions on our judiciary, irrespective of how they maraud our democracy time and again.
Rohan Gupta, time for counter defamation charges. You've given a lot of examples. File them. Now there is now proof that the defamation law, which is a colonial law, works in this day and age.
Absolutely. So now they have
there is legal precedent. File it.
The people even if our leaders don't file the defamation case and we are allowed to file, I think they have sent a good precedent, and then it is going to haunt them more.
I'll
Because
give
we
you
know
an
that
example.
of their leaders, number one. Number two, he's talking about respect of judges. Let me remind him the statement of Mr. Kiran Rijiju just one day before, that he has alleged the ex-Supreme Court judges as saying that they are anti-India. They are working against the country. What kind of respect they are talking about judges? They are opposing the collagen system which has been suggested by CGI. This is the first government which has come openly against our CGI and Supreme Court. What kind of respect they are talking about our judges? They are opposing the election process of the election commissioner.
No. Rohan Gupta, will you all file defamation charges? 1 minute. Rohan Gupta, will you all file defamation charges now?
Surely we will.
Are defamation charges going to come?
Surely we will do, and we will give example of this case, that even if the applicant is not impacted by the arguments, this is the case against Mr. Rahul Gandhi where there was conviction, so definitely the judges should follow the same. They are setting up the new precedent, and we will definitely follow the same in future.
Okay, they will definitely follow it. Our courts are going to be clogged with defamation charges to Hinsina after this.
Lawyers
Whatever
will
happens
have a
with
lot
this
of
case
fun.
or not,
I think,
lawyers are going to have a field day.
The problem with the Congress party is that irrespective of how Rahul Gandhi destroyed the
Tell
entire
about our
party, they will
problem.
not
Talk about
accept that
our
he has committed a blunder. Accept it, your fate will improve. I am giving you an example,
judges.
Tamanna, of how I dealt with an intimidation tactics. You know, I have not spoken about this before, but let me on your show tell you, there was this guy called Saket Gokhale. I was on a Mirror Now show 1 year back. After the show, he sends me an intimidation, notice for defamation. I responded. The only thing I did on the show was repeat the charges for which he's in jail today. I responded with a FIR under section 211, which amounts to harassment for making false charges. So I again repeat to the Congress party, hire better legal minds, tell your leader to improve his behavior, not vilify, slander institutions, individuals without any basis or reason, and your fate will improve. Don't just cast aspersions on democracy, on our judicial system for no rhyme or reason.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if they need to hire better lawyers, because the Congress party, for one, has a lot of senior lawyers in it. It is one party which I would say is chock-a-block with top lawyers, but yet they have found themselves in this. Yet they have found themselves in this situation. Let's see where this case goes. It will be challenged, no doubt. Will it be milked for all it's worth by the Congress party? They're going to have nationwide protests on the 27th. And will we really see the quality of our political speeches overall, quote-unquote, improve post this? These are some questions which are going to still be left unanswered. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us on the first debate this evening on Beyond the Headlines.